Hello Oracles! Well, here we are at the end of the first close post-split. Tesla ended up underperforming the market significantly, finishing down about 0.33%. So why is this? Well, post-split, a lot of times there's some people who are just, going to take some profits. They're going to sell off some of their shares. Even long-term holders may just kind of thin out. Maybe they have, they've got their split, they've got like 6,128 shares, and they're like, I'm going to sell 128 of these shares, get it down to that 6,000, and just kind of clean it up from there and then move forward. A lot of that tends to happen, just a little bit of hedging going on. Not like people are dumping long positions by any means. It's just a little bit of profit taking going on. I know I've had a couple of conversations with some of you in the comments discussing how you do just that. Totally normal, not a big deal. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who are like, ooh, I can now take advantage of these lower prices, especially people who don't have the access to fractional trading buying up on this. So you kind of had a little bit of a balance today on both sides of this, which is why we finished up down a little bit. So the people selling just kind of outweighed the people who were buying on the day. To me, it's not a big deal. We're still looking at the patterns, again, going into the charts, still holding that consolidation in the handle for that cup and handle pattern. We do have the gaps that are still there, so the gaps now are at 247 and 258. So those are the two gap levels that we are looking at the moment. So looking at how the market is trading right now, could we pull back and see this? When we were looking at the charts last week, yes, we could totally pull back, kind of have a feeling that maybe the macro environment is going to pull down a little bit. But we had some information coming out of the Jackson Hole Symposium today where the Fed is meeting, and they kind of gave a wink, wink, nod, nod. We're kind of looking at a 50 basis point hike in September, a 25 basis point hike in November, another 25 basis point hike in December, and then a potential pause in the new year. So again, anything can change going forward, but it kind of seems like the Fed was hinting at this is where they're looking. So unless anything major changes with inflation or any of the other data that's coming out, that could be what we end up seeing for these meetings. And that information that we got from the Fed about that today, the wink, wink, nod, nod, and that little hint by the Fed could definitely be the reason why the S&P was up almost 1.5% and the NASDAQ was up over 1.5%. Because, based off of Bullard's statements, last week, we were looking at, potentially a 75 basis point hike. So we saw a little bit of a sell-off with the market kind of anticipating a 75 basis point hike in September. Now we're anticipating maybe a 50 basis point hike in September, so the market bought back in. Remember, these algorithms move very quickly, so when anybody's plugging in numbers based upon basis point hikes for interest rates or inflation numbers, the algorithms are going to trade very quickly to balance out the pricing that they need to get to those levels. And so all in all today, I was actually pretty pleased with the stock movement today. Again, staying in that nice consolidation. If you guys are looking at volume, just remember that the volume is going to be significantly higher now than it was before. You basically need to cut it in thirds. So the volume today looked like it was 53 million shares trading hands, but it's really more like 18 million shares trading hands, which is actually still lower volume than normal based upon where we were before. So again, that's kind of how we trade in August, is lower volume. Even though we got the split today, still a lower volume day. So going into some other news, we had an interview with Ron Barron talking about how he can still see that Tesla is going to 3 to 5x over the next decade. So to me, I think that's a little bearish, but it's Ron Barron. He's been in this, he loves it. He's a huge Tesla bull. So a 3 to 5x is still significant. Right now we're a little bit under a $1 trillion market cap. So looking at 3 to 5x in the future, you're looking at a $4 trillion market cap over the next decade. That's still pretty significant, and he still believes that the company is going to become the largest company in the world. But he also does think that SpaceX is actually going to surpass Tesla in the future, so he's also a big SpaceX investor. So huge news coming out of SpaceX and T-Mobile tonight. The live stream is actually still going on at the time that I am recording this, but the basic main news came out about SpaceX and T-Mobile are partnering. I know we normally talk about Tesla on here, but there's a reason I want to talk about this in particular tonight. I'm huge into doing the right thing for the planet, moving the planet forward with technology and everything, getting into green, sustainable, renewable energy. But looking at Elon and the fact that some people attack Elon's character as far as what he is trying to do for humanity, The reason they have partnered together is there are a lot of dead zones all over the world. There's a lot of people who live in these dead zones, and if they have emergencies or they just need to contact someone for whatever reason, they can do that now. So they're looking to launch these satellites end of next year, so the end of 2023, to start a beta program on this so people can send text messages, maybe make a phone call, email sends out. So a lot of these great technologies are going to be able to save a lot of lives. The whole purpose behind this for them was to save lives. So going back to Elon's character, everything he has talked about is his love for humanity and trying to increase the population, because we are looking at a potential population decline in the future. So this is something that Dr. Jack and I are going to be talking about tomorrow on our live stream. So definitely join us there, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And talking about the fact that we're looking to extend our lives. How much longer can we live? And if we're dying because of silly reasons that can easily be prevented by being able to make an emergency call to someone, contact someone when we're in dire need for whatever reason, if there's a natural disaster, can we still communicate with the outside world? That's what this is all about. And then looking at FSD and what FSD is doing to save lives when it comes to traffic accidents. Think about how many more lives can be born and created when less people are dying. And then you start moving into places and times, what Dr. Jack and I are going to talk about tomorrow, when it comes to extending your life. So now imagine people not dying as early from unnecessary accidents and then being able to live even longer lives in the future. You can then expand the population of the planet, then you go on to Mars and you can extend population and really extend humanity to be a multiplanetary species. This is everything that Elon is working towards. So when people attack his character and say he's being very selfish, you know what? If trying to make humanity become larger and be safer and healthier in the future, if that is considered being selfish, then yes, you are absolutely right. He is being selfish and he's trying to attain these goals to make us all live longer and healthier and safer. It's ridiculous to me, and I think that a lot of people who don't actually pay attention to these things are the ones who are really attacking his character. But looking at how this is also going to affect Tesla in the future, we know that Tesla is working with the Cybertruck and potentially the Cybervan in the future, and maybe even the robo-taxis. Having Starlink put in there, we already know that the Starlink can go into RVs. So I have no doubt it's going to be able to get into Cybertruck, because you're going to be on job sites that maybe don't have any cell service. Awesome, you've got Starlink. And now if Starlink is partnering up with T-Mobile, you have more accessibility for Tesla vehicles all around the world. So with this, you can just use your cell phone. You don't need to buy any new devices for it. It will work with all devices that are out there right now. So with that said, you now can turn your vehicle into one of these devices. I have no doubt that is something that is coming on down the road for Tesla, is being able to have this cellular connectivity within the vehicle itself, and your vehicle can be your mobile device. So now we're looking at the fact that you can be driving a Cybervan in the middle of nowhere. You want to go somewhere in the middle of the wilderness in Alaska? Have at it. Your Cybervan is your way to communicate with the outside world in case anything happens. Just expanding my mind as the potential of what can happen in the future for this is very exciting to me. So I'm very much looking forward to see how this is going to transpire. Obviously, we are in the very early stages of this, but just thinking about the potential that we can see, and we know that Elon has said that, his companies don't all really work together, but they do. They truly do. And when you're going to start hooking up satellites and Starlink with Tesla vehicles, that is going to be a massive, massive partnership going on in the future. And then looking at the fact that, Elon is really looking to try and save lives. And then we've got Dan O'Dowd, which thank God Tesla has sent a cease and desist order towards Dan O'Dowd himself, is great. And we know that Elon was working on getting this legal team up and running, and they haven't done PR, but we did see that Tesla was over on Twitter debunking some news that was out there. So it's nice to see this coming back and Tesla fighting back the way that they should, and really, squashing this and saying, look, we are saving lives. That is what their mission is to save lives as much as possible. And when you've got people just straight up lying and hating on it, you gotta stop it. So thank you, Tesla, for going out there and doing this. Let's see what the next step is. They basically gave them 24 hours to, do this and react, or Tesla is going to press legal charges against them. So now we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But just seeing all these things moving forward, seeing how Tesla is behaving in this manner, very nice to see. So thank you for that. Let me know your feelings about that in the comments below, how you think that it's going to transpire. Do you think that they're going to pull this down, or do you think they're going to have to take legal action? And let me know in the pinned comment below, how do you feel about SpaceX and T-Mobile partnering up? Again, I know we usually talk about Tesla on here, but what do you think that this partnership could do for Tesla in the future? Do you think that they're going to work on putting this into Teslas in the future, and all new vehicles that come out will be equipped with this technology? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.